When Harry Met Sally is a 1989 American romantic comedy drama film written by Nora Ephron and directed by Rob Reiner. It stars Billy Crystal as Harry and Meg Ryan as Sally. The story follows the title characters from the time they met in Chicago just before sharing a cross-country drive through 12 years of chance encounters in New York City. The film addresses but does not resolve questions along the lines of can men and women ever just be friends? Ideas for the film began when Rob Reiner divorced from Penny Marshall. An interview Ephron conducted with Reiner provided the basis for Harry. Sally was based on Ephron and some of her friends. Crystal came on board and made his own contributions to the screenplay, making Harry funnier. Ephron supplied structure on the film, with much of the dialogue based on real-life friendship between Reiner and Crystal. The soundtrack consists of standards from Harry Connick Jr. with a big band and the orchestra arranged by Mark Shaman. For his work on the soundtrack, Connick won his first Grammy Award for Best Jazz Male Vocal Performance. Columbia Pictures released When Harry Met Sally in selected cities, letting word of mouth generate interest before gradually expanding distribution. The film grossed $92.8 million in North America and was released to critical acclaim. Ephron received a British Academy Film Award and an Oscar nomination and a Writers Guild of America Award nomination for her screenplay. The film is ranked 23rd on AFI's 100 Years, 100 Laughs lists of top comedy films in American cinema and number 60 on Bravo's 100 Funniest Movies. In early 2004, the film was adapted for the stage in a production starring Luke Perry and Alison Hannigan. In 2022, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. The cast includes Billy Crystal as Harry Burns, Meg Ryan as Sally Albright, Carrie Fisher as Marie, Sally's best friend, and Bruna Kirby as Jess, Harry's best friend. Some interesting trivia notes. Tom Hanks, Richard Dreyfuss, Michael Keaton, and Albert Brooks were all offered the role of Harry Burns, but all of them turned it down, with Brooks feeling the movie was too reminiscent of Woody Allen's work. During the screenwriting process, when Ephron did not feel like writing, she would interview people who worked on the production company. Some of the interviews appeared in the film as interludes between certain scenes featuring couples talking about how they met, although later the material was rewritten and reshot with real actors. Ephron has stated that she supplied a lot of the structure of the film, with much of the dialogue based on the real-life friendship between Reiner and Billy Crystal. For example, the scene where Harry and Sally appear on the split screen talking on the telephone while watching their respective television sets, channel surfing, was something that Crystal and Reiner did every night. Originally, Ephron wanted to call the film How They Met and went through several different titles. Reiner even started a contest with the film crew during principal photography, saying whoever came up with the title would win a case of champagne. The script initially ended with Harry and Sally remaining friends and not pursuing a romantic relationship, as Reiner and Ephron both felt that would be a more realistic ending. Eventually, though, they decided that it would be more appropriate for them to marry, as it would provide a feel-good ending to the story. In order to get into the lonely mindset of Harry when he was divorced and single, Crystal stayed by himself in a separate room from the cast and crew while they were shooting in Manhattan. When posed with the film's central question, can men and women just be friends? Meg Ryan replied, yes, men and women can just be friends. I have a lot of platonic male friends, and sex does not get in the way. Billy Crystal said, I'm a little bit more optimistic than Harry, but I think it is difficult. Men basically act like stray dogs in front of a supermarket. I do have platonic woman friends, but not best friends. In one of the film's most famous scenes, featuring the two title characters having lunch at Katz's Delicatessen in Manhattan, the couple are arguing about man's ability to recognize when a woman is faking an orgasm. Sally claims that men cannot tell the difference, and to prove a point, she vividly, fully clothed, fakes one as other diners watch. The scene ends with Sally casually returning to a meal as a nearby patron, played by Reiner's mother, places her order, deadpan, saying, I'll have what she's having. When Estelle Reiner died at the age of 94 in 2008, the New York Times referred to her as the woman who delivered one of the most memorable funny lines in movie history. This scene was shot again and again, and Ryan demonstrated her fake orgasm for hours. Katz's Deli still hangs a sign above the table saying, Where Harry Met Sally, hope you have what she had. The idea came about with Crystal saying, we need something for Sally to talk about. Nora Ephron then later suggested the idea of her faking an orgasm. Meg Ryan was immediately on board and suggested that the scene take place in a restaurant. And it was Billy Crystal who came up with the scene's classic punchline. In 2005, the quote was listed as the 33rd on AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movie Quotes list of memorable movie lines. Reiner recalls at the test screening, all of the women in the audience were laughing, while all the men were completely silent. Bobby Colmanby, the drummer of Blood, Sweat and Tears, a famous jazz fusion band, was a friend of Reiner's and recommended Harry Connick Jr., giving the director a tape of the musician's music. Reiner was struck by Connick's voice and how he sounded like a young Frank Sinatra. Over the years, When Harry Met Sally has become the quintessential contemporary feel-good relationship movie that somehow still rings true. Before she died, Ephron still received letters from people obsessed with the film, and as she said, she still has people who say to me all the time, I was having a Harry and Sally relationship with him or her. The film has inspired countless romantic comedies. And in addition, the film has also helped popularize many ideas about love and have become household concepts, such as the high-maintenance girlfriend and the transitional person. Now, what more can I say about this absolute classic? For me, in many ways, this is the definitive and the first romantic comedy. It launched Meg Ryan's career and made her into the rom-com star that she was in the 90s, and of course just once again added to Billy Crystal's fantastic filmography. This is a touching, funny film and sets new standards for the romantic comedy genre. I think what really makes this film work so well is the phenomenal, fantastic chemistry here between the two leads in Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. The dialogue just flows off the screen, and both of them just seem so completely natural and at ease with each other. This film plays out more like a real-life situation, almost as if you're watching it as a candid camera, watching a real-life couple, or should I say real-life friends, develop this relationship. Ephron's screenplay is absolutely magnificent and on point here, and to boot with Reiner's phenomenal direction, playing off their own real-life experiences, it makes for an excellent film. Some people have made comparisons to a Woody Allen type of film, and I can definitely see that, as it's full of amusing lines and scenes, all infused with an uncomfortable sense of some strange awkwardness between the lead characters. But then again, that's also what makes this film work so well. It's really just a down-to-earth film. It almost plays out like a theatre production, fundamentally revolving around these two characters, with of course the additions of the fantastic late Carrie Fisher and unfortunately also Bruno Kirby, who play off the leads absolutely perfectly here. Meg Ryan is absolutely perfect in this type of role, and you can see why she carved out a career for herself in these rom-coms. She plays Sally with a sense of naivety, an earnest woman not necessarily seeking out love, but just wanting to find some sort of peace. Where Billy Crystal, with his sharp delivery and wonderful sense of comedic timing, plays Harry as a cynical, jaded man who's almost too smart for his own good. In many ways, these two characters are complete opposites, but then that's what makes them work so perfectly well. There are so many iconic and classic scenes, of course, in this film that will always stay with you. And in many ways, some of the scenes, just for example, talking on the telephone, having the split screen idea, and of course the most famous orgasm scene within the restaurant, are just scenes that will always stay with you, were groundbreaking and unique at the time this film was made. This is a classic comedy in every sense of the word. And what more can I say about this magnificent soundtrack here, making use of the phenomenal talents of Harry Connick Jr., on a classic album that I still listen to often today. Led by two fantastic performances, a wonderful script, and excellent direction, this is one of those films you can watch time and time again, and it will never date. When Harry Met Sally gets a 9 out of 10.